with 2019 coming to an end, marking the end of this decade.
We got a list of all of our favorite songs from this decade.
And 2009.
What's up? My name's Travis.
And I'm Tyler.
This is Twisted Transcription Studios. Thought we were going to be crazy, didn't you?
Got a list of our top songs of this decade, plus one from 2009 because, hey, 10 years.
Yeah. And what we're going to do is we've picked out a song from each year.
And some have a honorable mention.
Yeah, some have honorable mentions. Tyler, would you like to kick us off?
Number 0 from 2009, I've got Reclamation by Lamb of God.
Right. My 2009 pick was the entire Wrath album. But if I had to narrow it down, I don't know, maybe Contractor. I think Contractor was one of my favorites off that album.
Nah,
It's
I like it all.
it's the one I listen to the most now, I would say. Contractor is. Moving on to 2010, it was kind of a meh year for me. By the way, my list is mostly metal and some hard rock. If it was all the songs I listened to, we'd be here all day. But 2010 for metal and hard rock for me must not have been a great year because nothing stuck out. But I wrote Parkway Drive, Sleepwalker. That's the song.
For me, I've got Better Off This Way by A Day to Remember. I really loved it. It's real catchy.
Yeah, A Day to Remember, if I would have thought about that song being a single released in 10, I might would have put the same song. But I looked it up on Spotify and it was like, that album was 2011. So I was like, well, can't use that.
Moving on to 2011, I've got, regretfully, Five Finger Death Punch, Under and Over It. I mean, everybody hates on them. They're okay. I don't know.
Cookie Cutter Better, man.
Yeah. That was when I first got into them. And it was alright. Under and Over It.
What year are we on?
11.
Oh, my 2011 is Solar Flare Homicide by a small band called Emure. Got really into them that year, actually. So, going back with 2012, this is one I've actually got an honorable mention in.
Same.
2012, that year, more than likely I was listening to the Resolution album, probably Ghost Walking or the number 6, one off that album. Lately, I've been listening to a band, Upon a Burning Body, and their song Texas Blood Money came out in 2010, and that one is pretty dope. So if you haven't heard of that band, check them out.
As for me, I was listening to the Resolution album. I picked Ghost Walking as my number 1, and the honorable mention being Pissed by Pantera. No, it was not made in 2011 because Dime is dead. But
It was released.
they released it then, so it counts. 2013 hits, and we've got A Wolf Amongst Ravens, one of my favorite songs by After the Burial, and my honorable mention be Shadow Moses by Bring Me the Horizon.
Yep. We've spoken about Bring Me the Horizon a few times in our series, and I feel like that was one of their last pretty good albums.
That was honestly the only album I liked by them. I mean,
Yeah, all the rest of the stuff was very metalcore and post-hardcore, very But anyway, mine was Pennyweight by After the Burial. Again, that's kind of a band that surfaced not too long ago, and y'all should check them out. I mean, it's an older band.
I just started listening to it last year.
But they recently started gaining traction. So if you haven't heard of them, check them out. All right, kicking off with 2014, I have Hail the Apocalypse by Avatar. Pretty good heavy song. Honorable mention for that year is The Amity Affliction. It's Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I got into both of them songs too. They're honorable mentions of mine. Enjoyed both of them. 2014 was a good year for me. As far as music.
Not so much for me, but
I also got Feels Like Forever by Mice and Men. It's a good song, good jam. And This Is the Time by Nothing More. That was when I think that was their first song they ever played on the radio.
Right.
It's pretty good. Especially the Sirius XM version. It's got a different intro than the rest. So 2015 hits, and that is when Wage War came out with their first album. And of course, I've got The River, because like I've said in previous videos, that is one of my favorite songs to this day. I also have This Probably Won't End Well by All That Remains as an honorable mention.
All that remains. That's something I didn't expect.
Yeah.
I have The River by Wage War because it is absolutely brutal. Just like you said, it's still one of my favorite songs ever. And one that I've been listening to recently is Catalyst by Dorje, who's actually Rob Chapman's band. Pretty cool little track. 2016 rolls around, and this is actually one of those bands that I've been listening to recently, but I couldn't think of anything that I like better from this year. So here we go again with After the Burial. They've got Lost in the Static and Collapse, which
I
are
forgot about both of them.
both of those are brutal.
What about Catacombs, man?
Catacombs
That
is
was a good
brutal. That whole album, that is
Yeah.
one of the albums, just like the Wage War album, Blueprints. I could listen to that whole album. That After the Burial album is sick.
Might have to do a Trek chat on it. For me, I'm a big Killswitch Engage fan, and Strength of the Mind come out that year, and I loved it.
It's a good jam.
Loved that whole album. 2017, another Wage War album, and of course I have another one of their songs, Don't Let Me Fade Away by Wage War, on their second album.
On my side, I have a Wage War song, Stitch, which was one of the singles off of that album. It's a pretty good song. I dig it. It's pretty heavy, nice stuff. I also have an honorable mention. It's Emure, it's Natural Born Killer. Pretty dope song, really heavy.
Yeah, I'm not a big Emure fan. It's just me.
2018 was a year I didn't really have anything to fill any slots with.
Yeah, I feel like from 14, 15 back, metal has like just, and even hard rock, it's just gone.
Well, the great releases have really been few and far in between. I mean, in 19, I've got a couple of really great songs that I like, but it seemed like it's a longer time between songs that I really like.
Yeah.
But I did write Of Mice and Men, Forever Watch It In. It's a pretty good jam, but still not one of my favorites.
As for me, I've got more of a hard rock. He listens a little bit heavier stuff to me. I picked Walk On By Jonathan Davis, singer from Korn. I don't know that he released his own album. It's pretty good to me. Some of them were a little weird, but hey, it's Korn.
Yeah, it's Korn.
Wrapping up this list and finishing off the decade with a couple good ones, I've got Wage War again. It is Low. The only good song on that album, I would say. I mean,
Yeah, it's
probably not the only good one, but the only one I really give a shit to listen to.
right.
I also have, I was really hyped when I read this and then it come out and I listened to it. Didn't let me down. Killswitch Engage again, The Signal Fire. It's got Jesse and Howard in it, and it's just, you get the best of both worlds. Old Killswitch, new Killswitch.
I had forgotten that it just came out and I'd already forgotten it came out. It was a dope song. On my end, I have a couple more After the Burial songs. We've got Behold the Crown and Challenge Existence. Both of those are brutal as hell. This album wasn't quite as listenable as their one before. There was a couple on there that's like, but it was still
catchy.
good.
Like, I don't know, Behold the Crown is pretty dope.
Behold the Crown is dope. I do have an honorable mention. It's another Upon a Burning Body song. It's All Pride, No Pain. Dude has got some sick highs in that song. So again, if you haven't heard of either one of those bands, go check them out.
Yeah, and any of them that we've listed, they're all, this is what we normally listen to.
Yeah, this is kind of my rotation. I mean, all of the songs that I mentioned, except for maybe the Of Mice and Men song in 18, would be on almost every metal playlist I make.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of these. Maybe not the Under and Over It by Five Finger Death Punch. Better off this
more.
way. Yeah. I don't know.
So that was kind of the end of the list. I think we're going to kind of discuss what made us choose some of these songs and what other styles of music we listen to on the regular as well.
Yeah, it was pretty tough, like, going in and picking a certain song for each year. Like, I really had to look it up and think. Like,
and some years I was like, yep, this was it. But then in like the 14 and 18 years, I could not think of anything from that year that I liked.
that's how I was from like 16 to 19, because I just don't listen to new music because it sucks, in my opinion. Like, all of it, even the metal and hard rock. I listen to older like
I mean,
Pantera and early mid-log, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I do listen to new stuff, but
there are some real gems in the newer music, but like I was saying earlier, there's so few and far in between now. Like the After the Burial Crowd, like that's a dope band, makes great songs.
maybe they won't go pop like the rest of them.
Yeah, but that's one out of the 50 million different bands that I've tried to listen to that don't quite make the cut for me.
Yeah. And I know I put Five Finger Death Punch, and I don't know. Everybody hates them, like I said, but
I mean, when you think about it,
I was into it at the time.
this list here for me is kind of a thing of what I was listening to then and
Yeah.
even now. I mean, like I said, in that one year, that's like, this is what I was listening to then. Here's what I've listened to now from that time. But I mean, Five Finger Death Punch when they came out it was like, damn. These
See, they
dudes
come out in
dope.
like 07, though, and I like their older stuff.
Yeah.
07, 09, something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know.
Like when they were earlier in their career, it was still like a thing. But then they jumped and started making albums every year and became cookie cutter. So I mean, I think that's where they kind of got a bad rap. But I mean, I listen to all sorts of different styles of music. Like I said earlier, if we talked about all of my favorite songs from each of these moments, I mean, actually, it probably wouldn't be that full because most of my favorite other styles of music is from the mid 2000s. And you're right. I mean, I guess 2011 and back is kind of my biggest listening point.
I don't know, man. Yes and no.
I mean,
I listen to certain
Other than
ones,
the
but-
Wage War album, and other than the After the Burial album, and even now the Upon a Burner Body album, all the rest of my songs I could live without.
I mean, yeah, I can't argue with you on that. I don't know. Music's taking a dive because, like I've stated in multiple videos, all you guys want to listen to is pop or rap,
That and
pop country, and I'm not into that shit.
the metal to me has really taken a dive because everything's become automated. I mean, everything sounds the same now. I mean, you can't tell me that drummer was in there doing a run on his feet and a blast beat, and all of those elements sounded at the same volume and level. It's impossible.
Triggers and
Yeah, everything's triggered, everything's time aligned, and it's stale. Like I feel like back. I mean, I'm sure that was happening in the mid 2000s, but I feel like back then and even earlier, you had almost a view of a live performance from a drummer in the booth, which
some
is
of them
what we
dudes,
like
man,
to do.
they can still kill it. Like some of them
yeah.
can do it, but I agree.
But that's the thing,
Most
like
of them can't.
the studio is making it sound more than human.
Yeah.
Like all them drummers are
perfect.
sick. Like I'm sure they're sick, but their blast beat does not sound like rim shots.
If you go and watch some of these heavier metal people like Chelsea Grin and stuff, you can.
Yeah.
If you were to hear them live without any
Yeah.
special effects and stuff,
That's my only thing. Like you think about how you do it. Like if you're hitting the hell out of the snare, there's one pop. That piece is loud.
Yeah.
But then if you're kind of like, pop, 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 it ain't nowhere near as
Yeah.
loud because you can't make that rim shot every time. But on the record, it sounds like that. And I think we're creating a false sense of reality when we're doing stuff like that.
definitely.
We try not to. We don't. In fact, we do not sample anything in our studio. Everything you've heard from us is live. Period. Nothing sampled. And I just don't agree with sampling because you're kind of taking the humanity out of it when you do that.
Anyway, we're done with that tangent. If you want to check out these bands and hear some heavy music, go check them out. It's what we like.
Yeah,
Maybe you will. If not, whatever. I don't care.
Put a little list of the bands at least in the description, and make sure you like and subscribe.
Hit the bell and find us on social media at Twisted Transcription. And we will see you in 2020.
Bye. Sorry, camera. What's up, bitches? My name is Jake Paul. Asleep. Sleepwalker.